Okay, so you know how much I love a good food adventure. And Cape Town? Well, that's a place I've been dreaming about forever. But today, we're not just talking scenery, we're diving deep into their restaurant scene, which apparently is just as buzzing as the beaches themselves. I found this blog post, it's from Menuville blog, and it's all about the best restaurant concepts to open in Cape Town. And honestly, it's got my mind racing. So whether you're thinking of, maybe opening a place yourself or just want the inside scoop for your next trip, get ready for some serious culinary wanderlust.
What's really interesting is that Cape Town's appeal, it goes way beyond just the typical touristy stuff. You've got this whole mix of factors at play.
Okay, I'm hooked. Break it down for me.
Well, first, you've got a booming economy, especially when it comes to tourism. And that obviously brings in tons of new restaurants, all trying to, get a piece of that. But what's really fascinating is how the local population fits into all of this. You've got this really diverse community, people with sophisticated tastes, always down to try something new.
So it's not just about catering to, like, the tourist crowd.
Exactly. If you really want to make it in Cape Town's food scene, you've got to resonate with locals. They're the ones who'll become your regulars. Of course, some places they manage to do both, but it takes a real understanding of, well, the market.
Makes sense. You need that local love to build something special. Now, this blog post I mentioned, it keeps talking about this USP thing, unique selling proposition.
Yeah, your USP, that's essential. Think of it like the heart of your restaurant. It's not enough to just serve good food, especially not in a city like Cape Town. The competition is fierce. You need that something extra, that thing that makes people choose you.
So let's say I've got this amazing location, prime spot, killer view of Table Mountain, the whole shebang. Is that enough of a USP on its own?
It's a fantastic start, that's for sure. But honestly, Cape Town is full of breathtaking views.
Yeah.
You need something more to stand out. You've got to give people a reason to choose your restaurant with that view over the others. Maybe it's a totally unique culinary experience, something like interactive dining or a hyper-local menu, changes with whatever's in season.
So it's about taking that already amazing backdrop and adding another layer, something that really pulls people into the experience.
Exactly. And speaking of location, that plays a huge role too. It all ties back into your USP and who you're trying to attract. Yeah. Are you in the middle of a bustling business district? Because if so, maybe grabbing a quick, satisfying lunch is what people want. Or are you tucked away in a charming little suburb? Then you might be going for a more laid-back community vibe.
So each location, it's like setting the stage for a totally different dining experience, right? You wouldn't expect to find some super fancy tasting menu in the middle of a crazy busy business district.
Right, and that's exactly why understanding where you are, what your concept is, and who you're cooking for is so important. It's all got to work together.
Okay, so we've talked location, USP, all that good stuff, but what about the actual food? What kind of restaurant concepts are actually working in Cape Town, with all that competition?
Well, this blog post, it highlights a pretty wide range, which makes sense. Cape Town's got a pretty diverse food scene. For one, fine dining is still huge there, which, it tracks. Cape Town's got that reputation, luxury, world-class experiences, all that.
Yeah, when you think Cape Town, you think treat yourself, for sure. Beautiful vineyards, those ocean views, it just screams indulgence.
Exactly. But it's not all, like, white tablecloths and tasting menus. The blog post also talks about this rise in farm-to-table places, which, lines up with what we're seeing everywhere, right? People wanting to eat more consciously.
Makes total sense. Fresh, local ingredients, all about sustainability. Do you think that's something that really clicks with the Cape Town crowd?
Totally. Cape Town's always had this, deep connection to nature. So it's no surprise that people there, they're into restaurants that get that. And actually, what I find really interesting is how much the vegan and plant-based scene has exploded. It's not just some niche thing anymore. It's a full-on movement over there.
Okay, tell me more about that. Is it like basic veggie burgers and salads, or are we talking next-level vegan cuisine?
Oh, it's definitely gone way beyond the basics.
Yeah.
This blog post, it mentions a place called, Lekker Vegan. And they're doing wild stuff, plant-based fast food, loaded fries, burgers, even get this chicken wings. All vegan.
Wow. Okay, I need to try that. See, this is why I love these deep dives. You find out about these things, these unexpected trends. Makes you want to book a flight, like right now.
And speaking of unexpected, the blog post also mentioned how popular seafood restaurants still are. Which, makes sense. Cape Town's right on the coast. But what stuck out to me was how much they're focusing on local seafood now and doing it in new ways, going beyond just, fish and chips.
So it's like taking something familiar, those classic fresh off the boat flavors, but giving them this modern, uniquely Cape Town spin. I love it.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget about wine bars. I mean, come on, those vineyards are legendary, right? Yeah. So yeah, wine bars are huge in Cape Town. But again, it's not just about pouring a glass of good wine, it's an experience.
You're totally right. And this blog post keeps coming back to that. It's the whole package, isn't it? The food, the ambiance, even the story behind it all. It has to come together to create something special. So for someone listening who's thinking, okay, this all sounds incredible, but how do I actually make this happen myself? What are the big takeaways? How do you build a restaurant concept that people in Cape Town will actually connect with?
Well, this blog post, it really stresses how important market research is.
Mm.
And I'm not talking about just looking at menus online. It's deeper than that. It's about really understanding your target market. Like, what are their actual dining habits? What do they usually spend? What kind of experience are they even looking for?
So it's like you got to go beyond the surface and figure out what makes your ideal customer tick.
Exactly. You need to find those little gaps in the market that your concept can fill. And then there's your brand story. That's what sets you apart in a crowded market. Why should people care about your restaurant? What's the big idea behind your menu? What makes it uniquely you?
I bet that's especially important in a place like Cape Town, where everyone's so focused on experiences, on storytelling.
Totally. Your brand story, it's how you connect with people on a deeper level. It's what makes them feel like they're part of something special, not just, grabbing a bite to eat. And speaking of special, we've got to talk ambiance. This blog post really hammers home how important it is to create a whole dining experience.
Oh, ambiance can make or break you, that's for sure. You could have the best food in the world, but if the atmosphere isn't right, it's just not going to hit the same.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. A seafood place right on the waterfront.
Yeah.
That should feel completely different from a cozy little cafe tucked away in a busy neighborhood.
100%. You walk into a seafood place, you expect that salty air, maybe you hear some seagulls in the distance. The decor should make you feel like you're by the ocean. It's all about transporting people.
Precisely. Ambiance, it's about creating a world that your diners can step into, even if it's just for a meal.
So if you had to, sum it all up, what would you say is the real secret to making it in Cape Town's food scene? Is it all about chasing trends, or is there something more to it?
What's wild about Cape Town is it's not just about jumping on the latest, food fad. It's about getting the city itself, like its DNA, and making that part of your concept. You've got this amazing mix of old and new, this deep respect for traditional flavors, but also a real excitement for what's next, what's new and exciting.
So it's almost like you're walking this line between honoring the past and embracing the future of food all at the same time.
Exactly. And the restaurants that really kill it in Cape Town, they seem to nail that balance. Like this blog post, it mentions a couple of great examples. There's this place, the Dog's Bollocks. They started as just a little food truck, just serving up these incredible gourmet burgers. And now, total local institution.
That's such a cool story, right? Start small, focus on quality, and build that loyal following. Love it.
Totally. Yeah. This goes to show you don't need some crazy concept or a fancy location. Sometimes it's about, doing one thing really, really well and letting the food speak for itself. Then on the other hand, the blog post also talks about La Colombe, which is like the opposite. It's this fine dining place known for its incredible location and these really innovative tasting menus.
Wow. So two completely different approaches, but both crushing it in the same city. Really shows you how much variety there is in Cape Town.
For sure. There's room for everyone as long as you get who you're cooking for and you deliver on what you promise. Speaking of this blog post, it leaves us with something to think about. If you were to open your dream restaurant in Cape Town, what would be that one thing, that spark that would make it stand out?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay, I'm picturing a place with a rooftop garden. And everything you eat is grown right there, hyper-local, all from within the city. A true taste of Cape Town,
I love that. Really plays into that whole sustainability thing. Plus, it celebrates what Cape Town has to offer.
Exactly. Okay, listeners, we want to hear from you. What's your dream Cape Town restaurant? Head over to our social media, let us know. This deep dive, it's definitely got my travel bug going. And hopefully, it's inspired you to check out Cape Town's amazing food scene, too. Until next time, happy eating.